Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Jake Makes. Today we're going to be making some sort of knife. Yeah. It is an absolutely glorious morning today. Beautiful, beautiful morning. It's actually not even that cold. I thought it was going to be colder out here, but this is Mississippi. Who are we kidding, right? We're going to be forging a knife, a big tactical knife, I believe, out of this bearing thing. I recently had a box mailed to me by a person whose name now escapes me. He said I needed more metal options, which is very true, and he took it upon himself to mail me a box full of scrap metal and other stuff. Like, look at this, we've got leaf springs, belt clips for sheaths, what's that, a plate of copper, railroad spikes, a bunch of old files. Goodness, so he even gave me a set of tong blanks. So awesome. Thank you so much. Like, really, thank you so much, Mr. Seth. That was your name. Oh, so happy about that. This is gonna be great. Anyway, today we're gonna be forging a big fighting knife out of this bearing. Is it a bearings race? Let's get started. Now what I'm thinking for this knife as far as design goes, my face is going to be really up close and personal, isn't it? I haven't really thought through it yet. Here's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like a really big, I don't know, maybe 7-inch blade. Let's just start drawing here. Sort of trench knife deal. I want to be forged all out of the same piece. So we've got handle here. I want some sort of a D-guard coming over, forged out of the same piece. So say something like this. I'll forge the end of the handle out into this long D-guard and bend that over. You know, something kind of like that. Jimping on the spine. Oh yeah, baby. Gotta have the jimping. Maybe leave the forged. Oh yes. Gotta leave the forged finish on the sides, on the flats. Definitely over the D-guard. Maybe a nice dark hardwood for the handle scales. Ooh, maybe even burn the handle scales a bit. Make them real dark and kind of blotchy. Oh yeah, I'm seeing this. I mean, I'm not going crazy with the design because I kind of want to figure it out as I go, but you know, kind of something like that. Hopefully this half is enough to make the knife, because otherwise I'm screwed. Alright, I've got the front blade section about as thick as I want the blade. What I'm going to do now is start drawing the tip out as much as I can. We'll see if it really works. Because of my blacksmithing skills, I'm probably going to have to do a lot of stock removal on this thing just to clean it up better because my hammering is terrible. But let's see how that goes. I am running out of propane, which is probably good because I'm really hungry. Back in business. One very important thing about blacksmithing, bladesmithing, blacksmithing in general that I've learned is to take your time. Very important. If you start getting rushed thinking about how fast the metal is cooling and trying to get in as many blows as you can, chances are you're going to start messing stuff up. It's important to take your time, take as many heats as you need to, and just think carefully about what you're doing every step of the way. That saves you a lot of mistakes. Alright, here's the finished forged blade shape. As you can see, This went from being some sort of a buoy looking knife to now it's going to be a really slick tactical tanto. Now for the fun part. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen when I start hammering on this. Obviously, we're gonna go for something a bit thinner and flatter. On this end, we're going to draw out really long and thin so we can bend it around into a D-guard. But as we all know, less yak yak, more whack whack. Day 2. Alright, so as we can see here, I've thinned it out more, and I think I've gotten it wide enough. Instead of forging the actual finger grooves in here though, I don't trust myself to forge those, so I'm going to go inside and grind those in, I believe. Then I'm going to go and bend around the D-guard. Feels pretty good in my hand. I like the way that feels. Now for the really fun part, and by fun I mean I honestly am not quite sure how to do this at this point. What I think I'm gonna have to do is measure exactly how much material I'm going to need, cut the end off, and then work from the opposite end. Bend up, and then bend over, and hopefully it'll be small enough right here that I can still get it inside the forge. I'm nervous. So I've marked 2 inches, 4 3/16, 2 inches, and I should cut it off there, and that should give me exactly how much I should need. Here goes nothing. Just barely big enough. I can't believe that actually worked. I broke the weld. I did not think the weld was going to work very well, and I was correct. It didn't go deep at all. So when I was grinding off, I ground right through it, and the 2 pieces came apart. Gotta re-weld that together now. And unto certain shepherds brought tidings of the same. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy New Year. To heat treat this knife, I heated up a can of vegetable oil up to about 100 and probably 130 degrees. It's called a faster quench, and it actually makes the blade harder than if the oil is cold. Don't ask me why. That's a good question for Wikipedia. Then of course I heated up the knife up till non-magnetic, and then a bit above that, steel becomes non-magnetic at about 13 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Critical temperature for steel is about 100 degrees above that, about 1450, I believe, if I'm not remembering wrong. So you just watch the color. I know what I'm looking for. You're looking for about a cherry red color, which is one color higher than the non-magnetic, about 100 degrees. Then really fast, I run over and dunk it into the quench tank, check to make sure it's still straight, push it back in there, and let it cool down. Then as fast as possible, just to prevent anything from happening because the blade is extremely brittle at this point, we go into the house, stick it into the oven at 400 degrees for 1 hour, and we do 2 cycles of 1 hour each, mainly for redundancy, just to be sure that the steel all reach 400 degrees all the way through. As you can see when I pull it out, it's a beautiful straw golden brown color. That's exactly what we're looking for. Alright, I got the handle scales all sanded down to 500 grit. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to torch them with my blowtorch because the wood is just a little too light and I don't want to use a stain, so I'm just going to burn them to darken them up a little bit more. I've decided I'm going to do something a little bit different with this knife. I'm not going to attach the scales using any epoxy. I don't want the epoxy in there. I think it'll mess up the look I've got going. So I'm just going to use the pins and peen them over really well. That's really all that's necessary. Because the back sides of the scales won't be covered by anything, namely the epoxy that I'm not putting on there, I'm going to polyurethane the back sides to make sure they're good and weather sealed so the wood doesn't expand and crack or anything when exposed to moisture. And then the outside, I'm gonna use like linseed oil or something. Alrighty. This project really challenged my skills in a number of different ways. Forging is not something I've done a whole ton of, so the practice this knife gave me was really, really great. As far as mistakes go, honestly, it's pretty nice. Like, there's not many things. Mainly the jimping looks like garbage. If it'll focus on that, you can see that it's completely uneven. That's because I didn't take the time to mark them out carefully with a ruler. Totally on me. There's some gaps between the handle scales, but that's to be expected since I didn't use any glue, and my surfaces are not completely flat because my anvil is not completely flat, and I didn't want to grind it because that would take all the forged finish off. So, you know, there's that. Hope y'all enjoyed this project. Happy New Year, everybody! I was gonna do like a New Year wrap-up video, and then I was like busy, you know, and so I didn't, and so I'm not going to. So you just get another project, which is better, right? New content, new content. Be sure to subscribe, like the video if you didn't already like and subscribe, you know, that sort of thing. I'll see you on the next episode of Jake Makes. Thanks for watching. Jake out. Oh, by the way, one more thing. If you guys want behind the scenes, like between video updates on what projects I'm working on, that sort of thing, go check out the community section on my channel homepage. Click on that. I'm posting updates on projects and stuff pretty much every day. And also on Facebook now at The Jake Who Makes. If you want to keep up with me, what I'm working on between videos, behind the scenes, all that jazz, go look that up. Bye again.